Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. We are live from Dallas, Texas. Me, Trev Beeps, one table, physical, talking baseball. Let's go! Paul Skeens.
Yeah. By you.
The older players are mad Paul Skeens is starting, and we're here to talk about it. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. We're going to be at the Derby tonight because of SeatGeek, and maybe you still could if you live in the area. It's one of the best events in sports. Code TALKIN10, 10% off any tickets at SeatGeek, whether you're a new customer or not. If you're going somewhere, if you're going to see the team that Trevor Plouffe really likes in the second half, go to SeatGeek, code TALKIN10, download the app. It's so easy I can use it. Trevor Plouffe, wow. Wow. What a performance you put on last night. How are you?
Okay. I was wondering where you're going with that. I'm doing great, Jake. You know, we're here at the All-Star Game house, thanks to Corona.
Yeah.
And we did have a night last night. Went to the Players Alliance party, showed up. I got an old-fashioned, so I was looking like manly right away.
Yeah, okay.
And, we chopped it up with Cease and a bunch of guys who I played with. Prince Fielder was there. That was fun, like, reminiscing with him. He was like, who's this guy? And I was like, remember me, bro, from the Twins? And he basically said no.
No.
That's not true.
His sons told you to get away from them.
We had a great time. It was a good party, a great cause. We saw Manfred there.
Their sons were like, we hit homers, not double plays. We're fielders. Dude, Prince was cool because he's larger than life without being larger than life. You know what I'm saying?
He doesn't have to, like, peacock around. He just walks into a room and it's like, oh, that's Prince Fielder.
There's no doubt that's Prince Fielder.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we had a good one. Our guy CC. It was cool seeing Fergie Jenkins got some love. Mark McLemore could hit.
Gary Matthews Jr.
Yeah.
He gave a long speech. That was the consensus of the night. A long speech, but it was good.
But it was about hitting.
Yeah, he literally was like, I made this adjustment 5 inches closer to the plate. Chipper Jones showed me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Darren Oliver came up, chucked up the deuces, and was like, play ball.
Yeah, basically.
It was a good night. And, hey, as we're at the All-Star Game, our Corona All-Star Game house, one of the more fun events every year. Thank you, everyone. My new big flex. Mike Cameron came up to your boy and was like, love your guys' stuff. And I was like, Mike Cameron, you're jacked.
Yeah, he looks good.
And because it was like cowboy thing, he had like a black leather fit on. So Mike Cameron.
There were some good outfits last night.
There's a room of alphas, and Mike Cameron was sneaky high on that alpha
list. And he dapped you up too.
Yeah,
like that is good for you.
And luckily, he doesn't have big hands, so
good for the brand right there.
I even hit him with. We started talking a little bit. I hit him with like, dude, I love good defensive center field play. He was like, thanks, man. Just don't look me in the eye. He didn't say that. He was awesome.
Before we start and go any further, you know I love to open the Baseball Reference page. I love to look at the Major League players. Okay. There's always 12 of them. This is like an all-time 12 grid. Jackie Robinson, Brett Gardner, Neil Walker, A.J. Pierzynski are the ones that I know.
Yeah.
Do you got anything else?
No. But that is a good...
Bert Hooton.
We didn't have Bert Hooton.
And Don Kessinger.
Okay, some people would probably be like, yeah. I'd be like, no.
You want to yuck some ball?
I do want to yuck some ball. And yeah, it'll be we did this last year's All-Star Game. We're going to hit a couple series that need to be talked about, but it's a good time to reflect as we're going to come out of this with how many days between when games start Friday and the trade deadline? Less than 2 weeks?
Yes, we're talking 12 days.
Week and a half.
Do you remember the trade deadline kind of kicked our ass last year? I forget if we had a warehouse thing too, but
I don't remember that.
The deadline.
It should be
2 years ago. I know we fully didn't plan right for it.
Maybe that's what it was.
I hope this doesn't happen because I've been hearing a lot of this. The price is too high. What does that mean? The price is the price, bro. Just because
you've been hanging out with Joe's McFly too much. The price is the price.
The price is the price. Like you either paid or you don't. Spencer Jones, give him up.
Hey,
if you're gonna get Crochet for Spencer Jones, give him up.
And just a reminder, the final 2 hours of this episode, we're gonna deep dive into every draft pick. break down what we like and what we dislike about each kid.
I just like the Australian at the top, baby. He's a competitor and fiery for the Guardians.
Chris Rose is all in.
He's all in.
The Guardians'
and Peter Moylan
future
too.
is bright. Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked Peter Moylan is in on the 1-1 Aussie.
That's pretty cool for them, to be honest.
Travis Bazana. We're going to start with the AL because is it Monday? Wow. And it's brought to you by T-Mobile, the exclusive 5G innovation partner of Major League Baseball. And for this year's Home Run Derby, T-Mobile is bringing fans to batting practice in 5G on their network. You can also get faster stadium action. Frictionless entry. We're doing this later. I'm normally a friction guy.
Okay.
But frictionless entry going into the stadium. No more fumbling around to scan your ticket. Yo, that is one of the worst
So what
feelings.
do? You just kind of walk through?
I think if you
phone?
have your ticket, you're good. Like, it knows it's in there.
Wow.
Which is huge because I think we've all done that. Like, oh, the Wi-Fi's out, my ticket's not uploading.
I don't do that voice, but
Swing into the future with T-Mobile, the exclusive 5G innovation partner of Major League Baseball. To learn more, visit T-Mobile.com/baseball. There's a link in the description. They are all about that home run derby, and I am all about, oh, you're going to give me the big boy?
you need it, coach.
I don't know if I can handle this. Let's talk some American League Baseball. Oh, and would you look at this? We'll start with the Yankees, who won a series, so it must be rainbows and butterflies, not compromising. Yankees win the first 2 games. Garrett Cole is back. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, looking like Garrett Cole. We love that. Game 2, Luis Gil is back. Looking like Luis Gil, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Meanwhile, the big fella, Aaron Judge, didn't get out his first 8 at-bats. Austin Wells sends one to Utah Street. We love that. And then here they are. A comeback victory to sweep the Orioles to take first place. Ben Rice, who's won the first base job. Things are going to be lit. They blow it at the end. A couple defensive plays that you'd like to see the team make. And the Orioles end up walking them off. Cedric Mullins over Verdugo's head. 3 steps in on a ball that comes over his head. I'd say that's none of my business, but God, that's so much of my business.
99% catch probability.
You'd like to have that ball, and you'd like to have the sweep. Instead, Orioles in first place. They end their losing streak. What is this, man? The Angels take 3 out of 4 from Seattle? We can't be doing this, Pat. Especially when the Mariners win the first game. Sure, Luis Castillo, 6 shut, and the boys bop. I saw Cal Raleigh as a potential standout for his 2-homer day. We always talk about J.P. Crawford. But then you got the walk-off piece from Trev's Willie Calhoun. Our fingerprints all over Willie, / you haven't seen us in the same room. And then the Halos get it done 2-1. Jose Soriano's off the IL. Joe Adell with the big RBI in that one. And then they win another 1-run game. Joe Adell, again, the 3-run homer. Seattle, baby. What is we doing?
What is we
doing? It's the same old song and dance. It is not for the Rays, who get back to 500 by winning 2-0 bread games against the Guardians. They shut them down twice. Taj Bradley, that's different. 7-inning shut piece. Ryan Pepio, 6-inning shut piece. Cleveland wins the game in the middle. Your guy John Kensey Noel with a homer. Same with Angel Martinez. Here's a guy. Cleveland just keeps calling up dudes that be hitting for them this year, which hadn't been the formula. Rays in the mix for the second half. Tigers, they take 2 out of 3 from the dot. Trev, it was getaway weekend.
It was.
I don't know,
it
man.
Was.
I mean, sorry, Tigers fans. You've won back-to-back series now. And that comeback win. Game 2 against the mighty, mighty Dodgers. Gio the God Urshela. Yankee legend, Cleveland legend, Blue Jay legend. I got my Gio down. He hits the walk-off 2-run homer.
Twins legend.
Colt Keith, Twins legend. People try to forget. Colt Keith has been hitting a lot. He shows up every time we talk about something. The game the Dodgers won was against Tarek Skubal. But, man, okay, Tigers, do you want to be a part of the second half? I don't know. I don't know if we're ready for that. And you guys need to flip the standings a little bit. Brent Honeywell, he's back. The Boston Red Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Kansas City Royals. If you don't know, Trev is kind of leading the Red Sox train, and rightfully so, because Cutter Crawford keeps having good starts. 7-inning shut piece. Rafael Devers, he's been the best hitter in the past 3 weeks, month, 2 months. He's been going off. Tom Smith giving him a little something from first base, feeling the vibes in the bean. The game the Royals won was behind Kyle Higgins and Bobby Witt and MJ Melendez. But Boston, all they have done is run literally into the All-Star break. The Texas Rangers take 2 out of 3 from Houston. Sure, stay alive, I guess. Astros won that first game behind your guy Hunter Brown and your texting buddy Alex Bregman. But the Rangers come back, a little 2-1 game in extras. Marcus Semien gets off the schneid with a home run. And Max Scherzer, 4 innings, whatever. But Josh Smith, 2 homers. He's saying this All-Star weekend should be about me. It's not. It's about Paul Skeeman and his Pittsburgh Pirates that swept the White Sox to go into the break. They're at 500. And Brian Reynolds and Key Brian Hayes, Vandy guy.
Okay.
Your former weed plant.
Key Brian Hayes.
The 500 Pittsburgh Pirates. White Sox are bad. Trev, do you have the standings ready? If you do, I'll be... Wow, you do.
I have them
Your
ready.
Show.
The Caterpillars got my weed plant. You don't think it's going to be a problem, then it's a problem. I think they're attracted to the smell. Anyways, it is Monday. It is Monday. So we're going to start out west. That's where I like to start on Mondays. We're Seattle. Even though we gave them a what is you doing, baby, Houston couldn't take down the series, so they are 1 game ahead of the Houston Astros. 52-46 for Seattle, 50-46 for the Astros. Texas kind of sneaking up. 5 games back. They're 4 games under 500 at 46-50. And then it's the Angels, 41-55, and Oakland, 37-61. We'll go out east, where Baltimore retains their 1-game lead in that division, 58-38. They're 20 games over 500. New York right behind them at 58-40. Boston charging even up in the AL East standings at 53-42. They ended 11 games over 500. They are surging, my people. And then it's the Rays straight at 500, 48-48. And Toronto, kind of a what is you doing, baby, first half for them. 44-52. Then in a Central where everything matters the most. That's what they say about the AL Central. Cleveland, a 4.5 game lead on my Twins. They're 58-37. The Twins, 54-42. Kansas City, surprise team of the year, maybe, 52-45. Detroit trying to get back to 500. They're at 47-50. And Chicago, oh my gosh, it's bad there, 27-71. In the wild card, so we have Cleveland, Baltimore, Seattle at the top of the division. And then the wild card, your Yanks have the first spot. They're 3.5 games up there. Minnesota has a second spot. And right now, the Boston Red Sox would be your third wild card team. There are teams nipping at the heels, if you will. Kansas City, 2 games back. Houston, 3.5 games back. And then everyone else is kind of like out. I'll give Tampa Bay Rays a shout, 5.5 games back. Those are your standings in the American League, Jake.
Thank you, Trevor. Like we said, we want to bounce through. We'll do, AL, NL. We'll hop through the divisions a little bit. It's the All-Star break. It's a time to reflect. While we can actually, if we start in the AL East, because we're in the Central and it's Monday.
Yep.
We can start with the little Orioles-Yankees, because Trev, you caught the back end of this with a bunch of Yankee fans as we had our hearts ripped out. Yeah, Uzo and Shelfie let out some big laughs that people haven't forgotten. People haven't forgotten those big laughs.
My Twins got walked off on a Little League homer to end the. Yeah. It was so same.
Orioles. We have the fight in this series. One of Jimmy's finest works with the breakdown. Clay Holmes hits Heston Kjerstad in the head. Clearly incidental. Hyde escalates. He has a reason to be mad, and we get a whole yuck and yum from it. But I don't know, man. We're a routine ground ball to short or a fly ball to left away from, imagine how annoying we would have been for most of last night if the first place Yankees were going into the All-Star break.
I was kind of hoping for that, just so you guys would be in a good mood.
Right.
I'm happy you won the series, because prior to that, when's the last time you guys won a series?
This is the first series they won in over a month, the Kansas City Royals. First back-to-back win since that series, too.
That's
in a month.
Crazy. Because you guys were just dancing on everybody. You know, here we are, the Yankees. It feels different this year. The lineup is so deep. Can you believe DJ LeMahieu hitting ninth for us? And it's like, okay.
What was that voice?
You swept my Twins. Everyone's going nuts. And then 2 days later, you guys were, hands or head in the hands. And I was like, what's going on? And then you guys proved to be right about that. It was a bad stretch of baseball for you guys. 6 weeks, probably.
Be a good YouTube video if you and me just sparred it out right now.
Anyways.
You're just pummeling me under the table.
Kind of a little bit. So you could say, look, the Yankees salvaged their first half by winning this series. I don't know. Baltimore, I could give them and say you're resilient for winning that last game. And I think it's going to be a dogfight in that division up until the end. And I think the Red Sox are entering the chat.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Seeing the Red Sox at 4.5 back when Texas Rangers are 5 games out, which that was a little head tilt seeing that number from me. St. Louis and Milwaukee are 4.5 right now, which has felt more than that. For me, it's tough to picture. Boston's been awesome, and I love what they're doing. If they get fully in the AL East race, I mean, snaps for them, snaps for where they are right now anyways, but I don't know. I think
if you don't think Boston's entering the discussion for AL East champions this year, you're crazy. You're insane.
I mean, I think Baltimore are the favorites. They are deep. They are running this back. They have as many assets as you can have. That I think Baltimore is the clear one. The Yankees, the pillars are there. Soto, Judge, Cole. It's the depth, and they have some pieces that will click. I don't know if it's Verdugo. I don't know if it's Glaber. I don't know what it is. The catchers, Austin Wells has actually been hitting a lot lately and looks the part for whatever scouting take that is. Hey, maybe the Red Sox, honestly, at this point, I'd be okay with that because I think the Yankees need help slowing down the Orioles, so if the Red Sox can kind of chip away on that side, that might be some of their best bet. But I don't know. It's an interesting deadline for the Red Sox. Like Orioles, Yankees, they're going to cash in some chips. They don't know to what degree. Or the Orioles might just be like, nah, they could. I mean, that'd be kind of a weird message.
But they're going to make a move.
The Red Sox, because the last quote, I saw you just looking up Red Sox front office stuff. The last quote they put out was like, well, Breslow was like, we have a 40% shot to make the playoffs. Blah, blah, blah. It wasn't the quote fans wanted to hear. Like they wanted to hear the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're trading, we're adding. That, I don't know. Boston, it's a new front office that you'd like to think they're going to get the thumbs up to do. Like, go get something. If they don't, that will hurt their energy a little bit. If they do, then you're probably right. They're probably fighting the whole way.
Craig Breslow, head of baseball ops, whatever his title is.
Yeah.
Because, you can just make up titles now, which I kind of love. Like,
yeah.
If I was running an organization, the titles would be just silly.
King Trev.
Yeah, exactly.
Kiss my ring.
Wouldn't you want to make a splash? Your team kind of like overperforms. I'm calling it overperforming. I think Red Sox fans would probably agree with me. Wouldn't you want to say, okay, boys, you forced my hand. Here is your reward. Let me give you some help here. I think that's the play there. We'll see. I think this trade deadline is going to be so interesting because we have a plethora of teams that don't know whether to buy or to short-term sell. Right now, I think the only clear sellers are, the A's. There are some clear sellers. A's, White Sox, Marlins, Angels. And then you could talk about Colorado. You can talk about Washington, I guess.
Yeah,
but there's so many teams in that, in the NL Central or the NL wildcard race. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams within 3.5 games.
Right.
So you have 2 teams that are out of it. There's Washington, I would say, is out of it. Miami is out of it, and Colorado is out of it. So 3 teams. There's 12 teams vying for those 6 playoff spots. That's going to make for an interesting deadline to me.
Yeah, and they keep saying there's rumors that like there's going to be retooling. Like if you're one of the teams that thinks you're contending and you have kind of an extra fourth outfielder, would you flip that to another contender for a reliever if they have bullpen depth? That for me feels real weird because I don't know. I think GMs. This is going to be kind of rude. GMs kind of hate putting their neck on the line. Like
a little bit.
It's why we don't see teams put chips all in because they want to like keep their options open. That I don't know if you trade your depth outfielder and then the outfielder goes down. I think if you're the GM, that feels really bad. If you trade a depth reliever and then another bullpen guy goes down and now you have a weak bullpen, that's a bad look. So I don't know. I think like the Nationals who traded Hunter Harvey to the Royals, who I don't know a lot about the package, but for Hunter Harvey, for any reliever, not to be shots fired, they got the Royals' second prospect, which I don't think they have a good farm right now because they've called up their like youth generation, but whatever. And they got the 39th pick in the draft this year, which, you know, we're big draft guys, obviously, but I don't know, 39th pick in the draft for any reliever, like that's go look at who's been picked in that range. Like wasn't Gunnar 41?
To get either of that like pedigree of piece, let alone both for a reliever. That's regardless of years left.
That's the consensus around if you listen to GM's talk.
Price
maybe
is
this
the
is
price.
The price is high, but again, the price is the price, bro. Yeah. Are we trying to win at the major league level? That's all I'm saying. Where are we going with this at? Because initially we talked about just going through the divisions, talking about them. You're going to burn this stuff. But then you start talking about the Yanks. Okay. And I have to just come on, man.
Well, let's talk about your Central. Because the Rays, they're going to kind of, this is our cop-out line, but they've been selling. But again, it's almost, there's been a little addition by subtraction. And the Rays, I don't know. I think they're going to be open for business. I wonder if they do the trade that would hurt us. Like if they trade the Randy or they trade a Brandon Lau, because we know they operate differently. But they're kind of, the Rays are around, dude. Like as complimentary, and the Red Sox deserve complimentary. If the Red Sox come out and have a limp week out of the break and the Rays come out hot, the Red Sox and the Rays are.
No.
Yes.
Jake, the Red Sox are 11 games over 500.
Okay.
Like, and the Rays are 500 on the nose. Like, that's, what are you talking about?
How many games is that?
It's 11 games.
Okay. The Red Sox, thanks for the help here. And no,
we
also did find out yesterday that you're not good at games back math. And I'm sorry, and I don't want that to hurt you.
If they play each other 6 times and the Rays beat them every single time, then yes, they'd be ahead of them.
The Rays are 5.5 back.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what that means. Yes.
Very similar to the gap between the Red Sox and the Orioles, which is 4.5. And you just said they're talking about partying together.
These are different teams right now. They are. Like the Rays offense has not been there. Like if some guys started to go a little bit, sure. But these are totally, totally different teams. I am not putting the Rays anywhere near the Red Sox as of right now.
Tigers need to sell.
Let's finish the East. Toronto, they're going to start selling. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind.
Have to.
Yep.
One of the biggest disappointments in baseball this year.
Have to. Check out Wake and Jake. Grading on a bell curve. Same crew.
In the Central, it's interesting. Cleveland continues to kind of like defy the odds with their starting pitching. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Their bullpen has been incredible. Their offense has been incredible. We talked about J-Ram and Naylor both having over 70 runs driven in at the All-Star break. They're hitting with runners in scoring position. They're doing it. They've cemented themselves as, a true contender. Their trade deadline is going to be awesome to watch. Twins.
You think so?
I think it is.
Okay.
Well, it's whether they do something or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you mentioned they brought up a few guys. Yoensky Noel is huge and hits absolute tank jobs. He hit one in Tampa this weekend that was pretty awesome to watch. Twins, for me, they need to make some moves. I don't think they end up making a move. They need a starting pitcher. They need like a good starting pitcher too, not just a depth piece. Unless Pablo Lopez comes out in the second half, it's just lights out, which maybe he can be. There's some breaking ball issues going on with him, so maybe he can just fix that. But they need a starting pitcher. I don't see them getting that done because I think, again, we keep referencing this, the price is too high. Kansas City, got to kind of like keep their footing in all of this because surprising, everything's going well. They were also hitting with runners in scoring position a ton. They still have guys offensively like going off, but they've started to fall back a little bit too far right now. I mean, they are 2 games back of the wild card. For a while, they had a firm grasp on a wild card spot.
Yeah.
And, although they did just add Hunter Harvey, and they were one of the more, what's the word I'm looking for? They did some stuff in the offseason, proactive.
They retooled a lot.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Then Detroit, to get back to 3 games under 5, but if you look at the standings, they're 7 games back of the wild card, 12 games back of the division. I think that's a little bit too much. I think they sell, and the White Sox are just completely out of the picture. Is Luis Robert going to get traded is the only thing that really – and Crochet. And I guess Fetty. Like, they have some chips. So if you're Chris Getz and you're, you want to restock your farm system, I think you just got to go for it now. Like, if you have the pieces that everyone wants, 2 starting pitchers.
Yeah.
Well, I think Fetty has 1 more year, and then Crochet has 3 years of control after this. And then you got Luis Robert, who has a deal in place already, so controlled money. This is when I think nobody's going to fault Chris Getz for selling.
No.
They're like, please, like, let's
sell
figure
as much
something
as
out.
you can.
He's just got to sell, like, hey, look at the Orioles that they tanked for a while, and like, look what they have. Like, he needs to go and just say, here's our guys. Give me your best prospects. Go get Jackson Holiday from the Orioles.
Well, and whoa, easy.
What?
Easy
What?
Birdland.
Would they do that?
I don't think Baltimore would.
They wouldn't do that. Garrett Crochet. That's what it seems like he's asking for is one big prospect for Garrett Crochet. I don't think he wants like a package.
A lot of teams don't move top 5. Like, when's the last top 5, top 10 prospect?
Everybody should move those guys. Who cares?
I'm sure if we dug, we'd find it, but
who cares?
Nothing jumps out. Detroit, I think you got to sell. At the same time, I was just surprised to see Texas is 5 games back of the AL West, and it's like, okay, 46-50 Texas. What? That Detroit has a better record than Texas. And that's where the division kicks in, though, because there's too many teams for the wild card. Like, if you're Detroit at 47-50, you can't think wild card. If you're Texas and you're 5 games back, you can think division. And Mariners fans, I feel like we might have a rough couple months. You haven't won the division since 2001. And Houston had as bad of a first half as Houston can have. Texas had as bad as a first half as Texas can have. And here we are.
Here we are.
I don't know,
We're out west. I think all Mariners fans share your sentiment where it's scary times. It is scary times out there.
Scariest first place positioning ever.
Yeah, and they're still waiting on offensive help. And the team that they were looking to go and get it from, the Mets, they had a surge and now are a wild card team. So Pete Alonso was like the guy they wanted to go get.
Right.
And I don't think it's happening now. And what are you looking at? Why are you looking at it?
I'm in on this kid, Jack Caglianone.
Yeah. Two-way player out of Florida.
Oh, Royals got him? Good.
Yeah.
Let's go. Call him up. Don't do that.
Him and Pask.
Jack Tani.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, actually, your Halos have been playing decent ball. I think 20-17 in the last, what would that be, 37 games? Ron Washington effect. 0.2% chance to make the postseason.
Oh, jeez. No, it's tough out there, too.
It is what it is out there. Houston can send a shiver down everyone's spine with a big trade. I feel like Texas is the classic stand pat team at the deadline this year. Like, we won the World Series. The chips are on the table. You guys haven't done anything that can allow us to go out and sacrifice farm pieces. But also win a few more games by this time next week, if you're 3 games back of the division, which Seattle opens with Houston. So what are we going to be talking about next Monday?
What's happened to that series, I think.
We will.
Yeah, we will.
That's what we do on this program.
I think it'll be one that we don't skip.
Look at this. Seattle with a 46% chance to win the division. Same with Houston. Man, Rangers, 7%. Lowballing them a little bit.
Okay.
Baltimore and Texas out of the break. And then the White Sox. Seattle, I feel like we're going to have a bad month or two.
I hope we have a good month or two.
I'm not rooting against them. I'm just trying to read some tea leaves.
Okay.
Go make the big move. Get Pete.
Pete's not for sale.
Because the Mets are in the playoffs. And I think we can bop to some NL. We're going to highlight some of the players. We're still going to do the second half of the show, how we regularly would do that, and how you regularly should do it. Booking.com.
Oh, I love Booking.
Yeah. Where'd you think I was going with that? Because right now, we are in beautiful Arlington, Texas. We're a couple footsteps away from Jerry's World, where the baseball team plays. And it's this is a sports setup. Like, okay, I'll walk you through Booking.com right now. Maybe there's going to be a Dallas Cowboys game you want to go see. Okay. Maybe the Texas Rangers are home that weekend, too.
Marcus Semien, all-star.
If you were where we are right now and you're a sports fan and both those teams were here, you would be having a badass weekend. Little barbecue. Bang.
Where's the Houston-Seattle series?
I want to say H-Town. BBD's on research and development. But with Booking.com, whether you're looking for a hotel, bed and breakfast, vacation rental, resort, one of the family-friendly places Trev stays, one of the other places BBD stays at, Booking.com has it for you. I forgot we're going to Boston in a week, and we got stuff up there.
Look at this.
Booking.com. Any U.S. city you're trying to go to, even your rivals, book now with Booking.com, an official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Life's about experiences, and you just got one. I'm good. I'm an ice guy. How about Shelfie? On the day NC2A football drops and the Home Run Derby, where his Alec Boehm is participating, he's out here serving you coffee.
Yes. Well, I just asked, keeping the pot up.
Nice.
That's nice of him.
That's nice.
We're doing a show.
I do the
Give
ice
us
coffee.
National League.
That series is in Seattle.
Okay.
Travel there.
Let's
Houston
go,
fans.
Seattle. Cook. Don't say that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And we've got a 4-game split in the NL, which is always a little Cubs and Cardinals. Kind of a good baseball rivalry. Sneaky. The Cubs won the bread games here with the Cardinals in the middle. Oh, big Lance Lynn. If you haven't seen what he looks like in the jersey, you should. Powerful. He would have looked great at the party last night. No, always looks great. Wilson Contreras. Because he just hits home runs and we're bored of it. How about our guy PCA and Christopher Morel? The kids for the Cubs with a couple.
That's a lot of testosterone.
That's 4 homers going in the break for the boys. Hey, man, we split 4 here. Cardinals put up a 9-run first inning in one of the games. Gibby, season-high 10 hits, Trev. And Ali Marmol ejected. Your fingerprints are just everywhere in this series. 4-game split, whatever. Braves take 2 out of 3 from the San Diego Padres in San Diego. Your guy Spencer Schwellenbach dropped it on him in the first game. 7 innings, 1 earned run of ball. Dylan Cease had the impressive start in the middle there. 11 Ks, only 1 hit. Marcell Ozuna, the Bear, he'll be in the Derby tonight. He was all over this series. And sure, Travis d'Arnaud, his 2-homer game. God, he's going to be a video. He has so many multi-homer games. He's going to be on a list of, like, this player has...
He's the best backup catcher in the history of the game.
I don't know, is he a back? I mean, he is. The A's take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Wow! You come and you take our city, Philadelphia, and Oakland gets their redemption, finally. As the Athletics, they win 18-3 on that. There was a couple getaway games. Games this weekend.
Are you saying because the
No,
A's used to be in Philly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, rivalry game.
I thought we were going like, American Revolution, stuff like that.
Well, you'll hear about that later. Lawrence Butler, 3 homers. Jesus, Rooker and Brown, the A's popped him around the park.
Dude, they were like leaning back.
Yeah.
In Philly.
Phillies were already on their way to the All-Star game because they have half their team here.
Half of it.
Mets take 2 out of 3 from the rock pile because they keep winning series, and they are going into the break feeling good about it. Dude, Bader and Iglesias, you might hear more about them later because they're not supposed to hit, and they are. Lindor, Terrence McNeil in that second one. Hey, Colorado, is the future bright? Toglia, Doyle, Tovar?
There's some guys there.
They get the 8-5 win. Mets,
put us in charge of the front office in Colorado.
We're ready, and we like the weed. D-backs take 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays, and that's obvious. We almost had the final what is you doing, baby, as the Snakes came back against the Blue Jays. Down 7-0. They tie it up. Blue Jays win it, thank God. Otherwise, the talk of the All-Star break, and it's crazy one game dictates that. That would be like a huge conversation. Did you see they got swept and blown? Sorry, Blue Jays fans. Corbin Carroll back in a big way.
Yeah.
And my guy, Gilbert Diaz, you don't want to see him slanging that thing on the mound. Ooh, that was kind of cool. Nats take 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. Brewers with just a little limp into the break. And America's teams and the Nationals getting it done. Jesse Winker, he's a guy. He could end up on your ball team and give you a couple
against
months.
his former team.
Sure did.
He was dropping it.
C.J. Abrams goes yard calling. So does Luis Garcia. Younger every time I bring up his baseball reference.
I don't know if you can bring the C.J. Abrams homer up, but he leaned back.
I like how you're saying lean back. Willie Adames with a 4-hit day into the break to help get the Brewers a win. The Minnesota Twins and the San Francisco Los Hibido Gigantes, they take 2 out of 3 for Trev. And that last game, was that embarrassing? Can I tell you one thing?
Sheesh.
Hayden, show me your bird song. I don't know. He had a fine start, but that was the game the Twins won.
That's all you had for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just love his
hot.
name. Brett Wisely with a 3-hit day. Kyle Harrison's back. Blake Snell is back twirling it. And are the Cincinnati Reds back? 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. They end up losing that last game. Could have been a sweeperone. Trev likes the Reds. And that's what happened in the National League.
Pop. Unreal. I can't see what you're working on, Beebs. Usually I can. So I'm just going to continue with the show.
Yeah.
Okay. In the National League, and it is Monday. We have established that. I'm starting at West because that's what we do. The Dodgers still, as much as we talk about the Dodgers having problems, they're still 15 games over 500, a commanding lead in the division. They're 7 games up on the Diamondbacks and the Padres. They're 56-41. Arizona gets, I believe, I don't know if this is true, but I believe I heard this yesterday. The first time they've been over 500 since April. Is that true? 49-58 for them. The Padres sitting at 50-49, and then the Giants at 47-50. They're creeping on to come up. That's a Bone Thugs and Harmony reference. And then Colorado back at the end. The future may be bright, but not bright enough right now. 34-63. Why is their mascot a dinosaur? I love it. I don't understand that. Then we're gonna go out east. Philadelphia. Liberty Bell, that's what they're calling it, the city of love, 62 brotherly love.
Yes,
62-34. They've been the best team in baseball for the entire year. 8.5 games up on the Atlanta Braves, who are 53-42, and then it's the Mets, 3 games over 5. 3 games over 5. The Mets. We're not talking enough about the Mets and earmuffs, the absolute shit show that franchise is. I mean that in the best way possible. It's insane. Think about what's happened to them this year. Mark Vientos is extremely hot. Washington, 44-53, and Miami, 33-63. Then we'll go to where, they say the heart of the country, the Central. Yeah. Milwaukee, still a 4.5 game lead, 55-42 over those Cardinals, who are 50-46. Pittsburgh goes into the deadline. I think this is important. I really do. At 500, into the deadline, into the All-Star break.
Yes.
At 500, 48-48. The Reds charging 47-50, and then the Cubs. I say the Reds are charging, and then I talk about the Cubs, who are a half game back, and I'm like, I don't know what the Cubs are doing. Weird vibes. 47-51 for them. So you have Philly, LA, and Milwaukee at the top of the divisions. Then Atlanta has the first playoff spot. St. Louis has the second playoff spot, and then the Mets right now have control of the third wild card with Arizona, San Diego, Pittsburgh, all within 1 or 1.5 games. Cincinnati, San Francisco, and Chicago, all within 3.5 games. So everybody is still there. Your favorite team probably has a chance, unless you're Washington or Colorado or Miami. So 12 teams have a chance, and those are the standings in the National League.
It was an interesting standings. I'm not going to lie to you.
I went somewhere there. It's fine. You got it.
Cubs have sneaky, I think, 6 of their last 8, which keeps them from getting roasted this episode because America's NL Central. I started laughing pretty good for anyone that's watching this on YouTube when you called Mark Vientos hot, which for a lot of people that might throw you off because that's pretty standard on this program.
But go check it out.
I was thinking about someone tuning into this show for the first time and them being like, okay, every time they say that, does that mean they're hot at the plate? Because they're kind of making it sound like they're attracted to him. Yeah.
Very fashionable.
Yeah.
Where do you want to
Okay, the Cubs, they did salvage it with a decent start, not a good start to July, okay? You lose 2 out of 3 to the Phillies, sure, that's going to happen. You win a series against the Angels, you better. And then you sweep Baltimore, which I guess is the big part of this July that gets them back in it. Although I guess they've been kind of reeling. They almost lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Should have lost 6 in a row.
At least the Yanks didn't let him off the hook.
Yeah, and then you split a 4-gamer with St. Louis. I don't know, man. It is interesting. The vibes feel different when I'm talking about the Reds. At least I'm going to get into them later. My vibe, my pulse on the Reds is a little different than Reds fans' pulse on the Reds.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Man, I'm having flashbacks to last year.
Okay.
Stay on this page if you will.
Okay, I will.
I'm having flashbacks to last year. If our Talkin' Base faithful from last year, hello to our new friends. If you remember, I got excited about the week and a half from the All-Star game to the trade deadline. I wanted to come up with a cool name with it. We landed on Treadline. Not that cool.
I'm out on that.
It's not cool. We're still taking submissions because baseball should market the fuck out of this. Because the Chicago Cubs, big payroll. They're supposed to be kind of in it. They come out with Arizona, Milwaukee, Kansas City, and Cincinnati. You're playing.
Then St. Louis, then Minnesota.
But this is leading up to the deadline.
Yeah.
So if you like the Cubs, you need a banging week and a half out of the deadline, and you're facing Arizona, who they're an improved version of themselves. Talk about that in a little bit. Milwaukee, who's run the division. Kansas City, who's one of the teams already buying and potentially, I don't want to say overpaying, but they're trying to show their team no, we're not fading. We're doing this. So if you're buying a little bit of Cub stock, you like the 6 wins out of the 8 games, you got to like them over these teams, and they've given me nothing to believe that for them to add at the deadline, I mean, that feels reckless from last place in the NL Central, which the NL Central does not feel strong.
Okay. Reckless when you're 3.5 games back of the wild card? I don't know, man.
It depends what they do.
That's why I keep saying.
They have a hot week and they're game and a half out. Go nuts, Chicago. You have a bad week and you're 5.5 out, and the only teams below you in the NL are, the Marlins and the Rockies?
Yeah.
What can you do?
Washington.
And Washington.
Yeah. It's that the whole NL Central. If the Pirates are going to buy, which
they said they
owner
would,
said they would, and then
I was told,
and then the GM's like, wait a minute, you have to give us clearance to spend money. If they're going to buy, and Milwaukee, who knows what they're going to do? They're always Milwaukee is the Rays of the NL. That's what I always say. Milwaukee going to Milwaukee, and then you have the Reds, who I don't even think need to add.
There's some numbers that like the Reds.
I don't think they need to add. I think they just need players to kind of step up. They have the depth was tested because of injuries.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what they do. But if other teams in front of you are going to add, I don't think any of those teams are going to subtract. You better keep pace. You're the Chicago Cubs, dude. You sell out every game.
Yeah.
You owe it to the fans to do that. You put together a roster. You spent some money on it. Great. But, it's not getting it done. It's not enough. So you have to go out there and add.
And, dude, that's where...
Don't tell me the Cubs are going to sell. Don't tell me that.
Okay. As we try to figure out a cool name for it, dude, it should be... There should be tread line games every night on MLB Network or somewhere that it's like, dude, the Cubs and the Snakes right now, this game is massive.
I agree with that. Okay, so we're in the Central.
We're in the Central. Brewers.
Do all? Let me ask you this,
okay.
Kind of a generic question here. Do all 5 teams have a chance to win the division?
I would say Cubs. No, I think that's like as tough and
you say Cubs. You can't say. You have to say Cincinnati. No.
Cincinnati is 99.5% no. That I don't. Dude, we both like this young core, and you're talking about them later, so I don't want to spoil things. Pittsburgh, I straight up don't think can win the division. Like, I don't want to be...
Without a significant offensive addition.
Like, I think Cincinnati has go-nuts potential. Yep. Pittsburgh kind of doesn't. Pittsburgh has a formula. Like, we got some really good arms. If we can hit enough and we get in the wild card, like, it will turn some heads, and that's cool. Like, the fact Pittsburgh's there is great. St. Louis, in a sick way, I don't think can win the division as they're 4.5 out. And Milwaukee, I mean, I would put it Milwaukee at 95%.
Okay. What does Baseball Reference have them at?
And 96 to make the postseason.
Okay.
So that includes some wild card. Milwaukee will add a thrower. Question mark?
You're going to try to add a starter. Yeah, I mean they have to. They can't continue like that. Similar to the Guardians, they need to add something.
Dude, give me something. It's so tough because they can pull guys up.
Sure.
And they find it that you almost can't be too critical if they don't make the deadline move. But again, there's a vibes thing. The trading away Hader year, they felt what that was. That even if you add something small, it's like...
They didn't care. They just traded away Corbin Burns before the season. They weren't shell-shocked too much by the Hader trade.
Yeah.
They got some reinforcements coming back. Out west, Dodgers are running it. They've dealt with their share of injuries. I mean, we talk about the pitching staff. They are one team that's probably going to be... I bet they're the biggest buyer at the deadline. I think like they're 100% going to go get Crochet or Flaherty or, another pitcher, which I get like who's available. I guess we don't know completely who's available. Fetty will be another guy, but I think they're after Crochet or Flaherty.
Can I hit you with a Chris Rose question?
Yeah, sure.
Let's say the trade market is just messed up.
Yeah.
Like I could be completely off on the Hunter Harvey value of that trade, but like I don't know. I was interested by it. Okay. If the market's completely off,
okay,
you got to really pay to get someone because nobody's selling. Are the Dodgers like too smart to do that?
No, they haven't. They have enough prospect capital to do it. They have enough guys set up long term.
The price is the price.
The major league team is like set.
Is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, I agree. They're going to go make something happen. There's no doubt about it because they have to.
Yeah.
It's World Series or bust for them and their fan base. And then you have the teams behind them. Arizona's coming. San Diego's like been there like treading water all year. They're such a peak and valley team. I wish they were more consistent.
They kill me.
Yeah, they kill you for sure. And then the Giants, who are you? Right? Everyone talks about, hey, Snell's back. Yes, talk about him later. Robbie Ray, is he going to come back? All of a sudden you're going to have pitchers when you haven't had pitchers all year long. Now can the offense do enough? We'll see.
The NL West, out of divisional trading pictures, like, I don't think the Yankees are going to do a big move. And the Orioles, they can go either way with it. The AL East is what it is. This AL Central didn't impress me trade-wise because I think a lot of those teams, I don't know, Minnesota budget-wise, Cleveland, how they operate. Dude, the NL West... Because you can make a very clear argument that Arizona, San Diego, San Francisco Giants are going to stand pat and be like,
I don't think Arizona's going to add much.
We've made our moves.
Yep.
Like, we're in it. We're around 500. If this is the team, go figure it out. The Dodgers, like you said, probably are going to be the most aggressive team. They're the most vested in this season, and they have a clear need. That I wonder if we're going to look at Arizona, San Diego, San Francisco, and the team that does step up and does something. Is that going to be the difference between those three?
If you had to guess, it'd be San Diego because of
their history and how they're running it.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think Arizona's going to add much. They, like you said, they've made their moves. They're just waiting on people to perform to their potential.
Arizona seems like they're standing pat,
and they're a good team.
Dude, they're the brand of baseball is better.
With Corbin Carroll coming on, that's the biggest thing that you could do. We'll go out east. Philly, even with the injuries to their roster, their pitching staff has been incredible. I think we talk about the Red Sox and how surprising they've been. Phillies have been the most consistent of any starting pitching rotation in the big leagues. They've been healthy, which helps a lot. They had depth. They even had to put a guy in Turnbull in and out of the rotation. But by and large, they've just had their guys and they've thrown them out there. Is there 3 starting pitchers in the All-Star game for them?
Yeah.
It's Wheeler, Suarez, and Sanchez.
Yeah.
Awesome.
8 players.
So they're doing it. Atlanta, I guess they've already started to make their moves. Eddie Rosario's back.
Don't.
What are they going to do? I think, I haven't really thought about that. Atlanta.
Atlanta's got some weird stuff going on, man, because we did I mentioned this before. Trev, we did Awaken Jake yesterday. We gave out some grades. And, dude, Chris Sale has been better than hoped for.
They don't need pitching.
Max Fried has been the definition of Max Fried.
Yes.
Ronaldo Lopez
yes.
has an argument for the best pitcher in the NL.
They have 4 starters that have been there the entire time. They've gone back and forth with their 5th spot, but they don't need pitching.
No,
Jesse Chavez is still there.
There's been rumors about it because there's also stats out there that their 5th starter has been so bad, and it's kind of the difference in the division right now. And I don't know. I mean, how much can you really retool that lineup? Not a lot, which again is a good thing for them because I think Matt Olson is going to be better in the second half. Arcia at shortstop. That's interesting.
I was going to say, go bring the boys back. Go get Jock Peterson back, but I don't think Arizona's going to do that.
Jock's incredible. Jock's one of the most underrated players in baseball.
I think he is.
Put me on the team. I'll have a 900 OPS against righties. He's a sick puppy.
So it's an outfielder that they have to go get because Marcel's the DH. I was thinking, who could they bring in just to be a bopper? But Marcel's your DH. You got to go get an outfielder. And there's one that we just, on a team that's flailing right now.
You think it
fit perfectly on that?
Atlanta and Philly fighting for Luis Robert?
Yeah.
That's fun.
I like that a lot.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that.
Okay.
If the trade deadline goes past and Philly does nothing, is that the number 1 team that it's that's fine?
I think so.
You've done everything.
I don't know if Atlanta wants to do this because it's kind of like Eddie Rosario 2.0. Jesse Winker would be interesting to me. He seems like, they brought, that's the kind of guy that he could bring. Okay.
He's an NL East tour guy.
Yeah.
He's with the Mets next year. That's not official, but, yes. And then, a celeb lap in his late years with Miami or something. Miami, trade everyone you can. You think Jazz goes?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
They're playing him at second base to up his trade value to the Yankees. To the Yankees. Yeah, no, I think he does. I think they're trying to figure it out. There are some organizations, man. Yeah. And look, I've been on bad teams. But the Twins were not a bad organization. There's some bad organizations out there right now. Bad.
I mean, dude.
Oakland, bad.
Look at
Chicago, bad. Miami, bad.
Look at payrolls and player names that, the franchises. If you went out and you showed, I don't want to say a generic MLB fan, but hey, tell us who's killing it on Cleveland and Milwaukee. The brand names, because these teams don't give out the big you'll get J-Ram.
Yeah, J-Ram,
Yelly.
Yeah, that's about it. Would a casual fan know Williams Contreras?
They should.
Or Willie Adames?
Probably I don't think they know Willie. They know Willie on here.
That doesn't matter,
But these teams' front offices are running laps around half the league.
I think so.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
I can't wait till it goes back. Okay, so it went from let's just slug, bro. We're only slugging. Mm-hmm. And then the good teams now are stealing bases, playing defense,
athletic,
putting the ball in play. I can't wait till it goes back the other way. We just got a bunch of fatties just hitting homers again.
Well,
yeah. When Milwaukee starts signing a bunch of fatties, you know that it's coming.
That would be the third song on your country album. Fatties hitting homers again. Okay, this is. I'm not doing this to be clicky, but this is generic. Okay. I'd love to know your answer. If you had to pick one Jazz Chisholm Landing team, what is it? Because we've talked about this a little bit. Like, you'd think a veteran-laden, kind of fit in or ship up. What's that phrase?
A veteran-laden what?
Like, where do you think would be the best landing spot for Jazz Chisholm?
Jazz Chisholm. Jeez, dude. You kind of put me on the spot here. I mean, it depends.
Like,
because
I'll throw myself in front of the bus.
He's not an infielder right now.
Like, I don't think Seattle would be a good landing spot for him.
I don't think so
Between the history of Seattle adding hitters and it being a tough place to play, like them being like, we got Jazz Chisholm to help. Like, I think Jazz can be very good and very helpful, but if you're adding him to be the guy, I don't think that's the...
Okay. Like maybe San Diego?
Interesting. They'll let him cook.
Just like find a spot for him to play. I don't know. Like he's a former shortstop. Like Tatis is going to be out for how long is he going to be out for? Do you have?
I don't know exactly how long he's going to be out, but either way, if they have bodies in, bodies out, they can shift him to second. They can play him in any of the outfield spots.
That's kind of where my head went.
Like, if Jazz went to the Dodgers, are you like, perfect? Or are you like, that's kind of weird? Oh, and him and Miggy Rowe, beef challenge.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen, honestly, just because of that.
Yeah.
And I know the front office there is very conscious of, like, okay, like...
Pittsburgh. I'm half in on it.
Pittsburgh could be a team, but, I guess, he could be out in center.
I'm half in on it.
Okay. What's he going to cost for? Okay, so I guess Pittsburgh and San Diego are two.
A little swag to Pittsburgh.
Decent landing spots.
Like Reynolds and a couple other guys.
I agree. There's actually not a lot of landing spots for him.
The last Tatis quote on his injury was, "Won't be before the All-Star break, obviously, but it's not going to be as long as we all thought."
Cleveland.
It's interesting,
but see. Usually I don't talk about players and like reputations and, it's just about like, man, performance trumps all. If you can come do it. Is he a game changer for them? He's not. So I don't think Cleveland and knowing Vogt and kind of like the way he operates would be like, bring that guy in just because he has been like kind of like, I don't know how to put it. Like
slightly above average.
Like his numbers aren't good enough for like a Cleveland-like team to like go against what they do.
Jazz can hit homers. Jazz can steal bases, and in his defense,
maybe he needs to be on a good team.
He's been on a rough hitting team.
Yeah,
like no discussion on that. Like they've asked him to carry the Marlins offense, which I don't think a single player in baseball can do.
No,
so maybe that's where it's unfair. Maybe if Jazz Chisholm had been the fourth best guy in a lineup, I would feel like, man, this Jazz Chisholm guy, it feels like he's always doing something. Instead, it's like Jazz in the Miami offense.
It's very difficult to play.
Was that a conversation with myself for a second?
I think you kind of did. You just did that.
It's got to be weird.
I think we need to move on to the second half of the show.
Let's go to the second half of the show. Hey, people, it's the All-Star break. It's always going to be a funky one. And the second half of the show means standout performances. And standout performances are brought to you by Charity Buzz. This is one of my favorite ones recently because Charity Buzz, the card game, we talk about it here. Trev's dipped his toe, sometimes more than dipping his toe. You've dipped a lot of stuff. Charity Buzz, okay, Mickey Mantle rookie card. If you're anywhere near the card game, you're like, yeah. That's what it's about. PSA 8, rarest and highest value card in their collection. So, okay, you're like, this is a card thing. We got Stephen Curry on here, Patrick Mahomes cards. They got whatever you're looking for. The cool twist with this, every winning bid will benefit charity or a non-profit partner, the Inspiring Children Foundation and Women in Film. So, If you're in the card collecting world, you probably know these guys. If you don't, welcome, because now you're collecting cards and you're getting involved with charity. So, or if you've been looking to get involved in cards, it seems like the right place to go for you. So, if you have interested in this, head to CharityBuzz.com/TalkinCards, new show, to bid and learn more. That's CharityBuzz.com/TalkinCards. There's a link in the description.
My standout.
Yeah.
I'll give it 2.
I think we're both doubling up.
We're doubling up. It's the All-Star break. And I'm going with a couple short kings. No one's ever seen you and Harrison Bader in the same room. He was 2 for 4 with 2 homers, 3 runs driven in on Friday. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Harrison's a friend.
Okay. Also, Jose Iglesias went 2 for 4, 2 homers, 2 runs.
Now, you haven't seen me and Jose Iglesias in the same. You kind
of
have.
We did. Spring training 2020.
Yeah. Backhand Jose.
Yeah, he was going off.
He's hitting.
He's raking. It's
fucking Mets, bro.
It's insane. So here's some stats for the Mets, okay?
Yeah.
They hit a season-high 5 homers. It was those 2 hitting 4 of them, and then hot boy Mark Vientos also got in on the action. Since May 31st, people, listen to this. The Mets lead the majors in runs, and they're the only team averaging more than 6 per game. The Mets. They scored 5 or more in 18 of their last 24 games.
24-10 in their last 34. They've been an incredible baseball team for coming up on a month and a half.
And they have, I just can't stress enough, they have a guy who's performing a song at the All-Star game. It's the #1 Latin song on the Apple charts.
Hey,
like, what are we doing?
That feeds a team.
It's insane. Only the Mets. Only the freaking Mets.
Also, when we're giving out credit points, and we have no idea. That's the great game of sports a little bit. You know, the guy that set up the Brewers, and I've been as complimentary to them the past as much as I can.
I am not giving David Stearns credit for bringing in Jose Iglesias. I'm not.
That's fair.
That's divine intervention, baby. Like, what are we doing
Maybe
here?
he knew the album was dropping, bro.
Maybe he knew the album
I don't know. If you believe, which I guess I'm now talking myself into this, if you believe in the people running the teams matter because it's top down and we see teams competing with teams they shouldn't be, Stearns was the guy. And everyone around baseball talks about him like the guy that I don't know, but maybe we're setting up for a new era of Mets baseball, man. Don't say that a lot.
Okay. You going?
We love a double. I'm going to go... I'm going to go with one of our guys, a fingerprint guy.
Yeah.
And actually, is this a double fingerprint? I think it is. Pete Crow Armstrong, I mentioned the Cubs going 6 out of their last 8. He has a 2-homer day at the office with a stolen base. Mm-hmm. Hello. If you want to see someone cover ground in the outfield, he grades out like stupid. Like, I think he had like an 80 scouting grade of...
He can go get it.
Playing defense in the outfield. So if Pete Crow Armstrong can start bringing it with the bat, and sweet guy, really polite.
I asked when I first met Stafford and Cup, Flex.
Whoops. Here
we were talking about sports terms, and they're like, "Oh, we love baseball lingo and like all the things you guys say." And I said, "What?" I was like, "Does football have lingo?"
Bros chopping it up.
Yeah, just about professional athletes, whatever. I said, "Does football have?" lingo? I'm like, not really. I'm like, what do you say if some guy's just like awesome or like really fast out in the field or something? Like, oh, we say he can go get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
We use that too.
PCA.
He can go get it.
And
yeah, if you're building, whether you're building future Cubs teams or you're trying to build a Cubs team to go in this second half, he could be an important part of that. The other guy, I'm sorry, L-Butt not getting thrown in for his 3-homer game, but he is.
Okay, he's in there.
I want to highlight Corbin Carroll because he's turned his season around. He's 2 homers, 6 RBI day at the office. We love that for him. And he's been about an 800 OPS guy now for, I forget if it's a month and a half or so. If you're projecting the Arizona Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll in the leadoff spot, he was hurting them, man. He had some of the worst stats in baseball.
Yes.
The fact that he looks like Corbin Carroll again, he's getting on top of that high pitch. Snakes alive. Snakes are ahead of the Padres going in the break.
You should have went Kyle Hendricks, bro.
I should have went Kyle Hendricks. 7 clean. Go Ragans.
A lot of people on here.
Spencer Schwellenbeck?
Blake Snell?
Might hear more about them.
Yeah.
You might hear about these guys in the best segment of the show.
Dirt nasties on FUEGO. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
James got me last night. That son of a gun. Brought to you by Corona Extra in FUEGO. Lawrence Butler. We're just talking about him.
Yeah.
Z Law on Instagram, my guy. 4 for 10.
Like that.
4 homers in the 3-game series against the Phillies.
Swinging big,
and the third one yesterday was this. And he stood on the plate with his lightning rod of a bat. 8 runs driven in, 4 runs scored for the 2-daughter. How about Michael Toglia?
Yeah.
All he does is hit homers. Like literally. 4 for 12, 4 homers, 5 runs driven in. He became the first Colorado switch hitter to homer 3 times in a game. He became the first Rockies player with a 3-homer game since Brendan Rodgers on the 22nd of June 1st, 2022. I read that like a European kind.
Poorly, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. He has 34 hits on the season, Jake. How many for homers?
16.
16.
What
That's
percent
47%. Yeah. Just quick math in my head. Another Rocky on the FUEGO list. That's why we're the best show in baseball. Zeke Tovar, 7 for 13, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 4 runs driven in. That was against the Mets. For the week, Julio finally started to get it going.
Okay.
We got some power. We got some some base hits the other way. Love that. 13 for 22, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 runs driven in. I mean, that is. You talk about the Mariners. The only thing they really, they need offense, but the main thing that they need is that guy to get going. Track record says he will second half.
Yeah.
Jose Iglesias, we'll just keep talking about you, bro. You're going to be on FUEGO. You should be on FUEGO every week. 9 for 16. A double, 2 homers, 4 runs driven in. He recorded his first career multi-homer game, which we just talked about.
Yeah.
He had 3 homers in 118 games with the Rockies in 2022. That's the last season he played. He has 3 homers in 30 games with the Mets. It's Mets devil magic. They took it from the Cardinals.
Stearns gets no credit.
Stearns, you don't get any credit for this. I love it. You're probably like, Dad, what a great signing. But no, that is, like I said, divine intervention. For the 2 weeks, and people, this is the list you want to be on, and you're a thick guy. Burley, Alec Burleson. What a great name for him.
Yeah.
Because, he is Burley. He's just on this every week.
I think the Yankees looked at Alec Burleson and I don't think we can have him in our organization.
He's too big.
There's too much hair in places you can't control.
Yeah. 18 for 53, 3 doubles, 5 homers, 15 runs driven in over the 2 weeks.
Oh.
And how about Cutter Crawford?
Cutter Crawford.
Spelling Cutter with a K when you have the C for Crawford, I think is a travesty.
Oh.
Could have went CC there. That's my take. No big deal. I do have a friend, Kyle, who's married to Crystal with a K, and all of their kids are Ks.
Okay.
So that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, they have 4 kids. There's 6 Ks.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's a lot.
Cutter would fit into their family. 3 games started, 20 innings pitched, 9 hits, only 1 earned run. That's a .45 ERA, .5 whip, because this guy's not even giving up hits. It's ridiculous what he's doing. He's thrown 79% strikes over his last 3 starts. No other pitcher with 100-plus pitches thrown over the last 2 weeks has a strike percentage over 75. How about Jose Budo of the New York Mets? 4 games. He was 3-0 with 1 save, 7 2/3 innings pitched, 8 Ks, 2 hits, 3 walks. He was recalled July 2nd and has been used as a reliever after making some starts early on in the year. Before being called back up, Budo had not made an MLB appearance since May 14th, 2024. So he came back and is doing his thing. Mets devil magic. And now for the Corona Extra and FUEGO player, my guy, Blake Snell.
Yeah.
He comes back off the IL, 2 games started. He's got 5 innings pitched, no earned runs. Okay, that's Blake Snell-ish. Then he drops another 7 innings pitched against my Twins, no earned runs. So in the 2 games he's been back, it's 12 innings total, only 2 hits, Jake. And this is what I like: 11 Ks, 3 walks in those 12 innings. That's what you got to look for Blake Snell. Goes into the through 7, .42 whip. No ERA. He's my Corona and Fuego player of the episode. I'm still working that one out. That
was honestly awesome.
Because I was going to say the week, but I give 2 out.
That was
in the
sick.
week.
Congrats to Snell. A big second half guy. Giants stock.
Giants. I have a Giants fan in like my group chat with my friends. He's obnoxious. His name's Kevin. Another K. What's going on?
What is that?
Simulation type stuff. He's convinced they're going to go on a run. I'm not so convinced.
Thank you to Corona. Corona's also like our biggest sponsor for this All-Star Game trip, which is sick. Thank you to everyone that tunes in that's allowed a company like Corona to look at us and be like, that's cool. So thank you, guys. Make sure you go out and get some Corona. Get yours at ordercorona.com. 21 plus, relax responsibly. Yep. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports. There's a link in there if you need to find out where to get Corona. Here's my hint, everywhere.
Literally everywhere.
It's
There's
Corona.
one right next to you.
I think I slept with one last night. Let's do the worst part of the show. It is the injury updates. Brought to you by Jake. Just me out here. J.D. Davis goes to the IL for the Yanks. And Kyle Farmer, that's kind of like you and me, Pop. That's tough. Wandy Peralta, that San Diego pen. Justin Slayton, been really good for Boston. Setting up Big Kenley for them. Heston Kjerstad goes on the 7-day concussion IL after getting hit by that Clay Holmes pitch. Jose Trevino running the bases in that series. He goes down. Jose Miranda, the hit king. He goes down. Nolan Jones, I can't. Returning from the IL, Xander Bogaerts. God, as we're talking about, dude, this sport's so dumb. Xander Bogaerts could go out and be one of the best players in the second half. Hasn't been a big part of San Diego for a little bit. Joey Ortiz is back for Milwaukee, hopefully getting in the way of their slide. Javier Assad. Herman Marquez, we were watching his rehab start in the house yesterday because it was on one of those channels, like we couldn't figure out the TV yet. And you know I love me some Brian Wu. So that's who returned from the IL. Let's start off everyone's All-Star Week.
Awards!
And Trev, I think you're about to really cook.
I'm gonna try, Coach. I would love some tri-tip right now. We're in the great state of Texas. We get some good barbecue out here. Okay,
good food. Good food here.
Tex-Mex? Are you into that?
Yeah.
I could use some Tex-Mex right now.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest with you. My award's called The British Are Coming, and I don't know how much you know about Paul Revere.
A lot.
Okay. He's from Boston, the Boston area. Was a silversmith.
Yeah.
His dad was a silversmith. He wanted to be a silversmith. Ended up joining the Army. Then going back, he became a silversmith. But he was always part of like a group of, I don't want to call them spies.
Right.
But during, the American Revolution, you had to have posts set up, and they were lookouts basically. That's a good one for us.
Yeah.
And everyone knows the famous Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, right?
It's a big one.
And what I actually didn't know as I was researching this award, it wasn't just him. There was 3 guys. Okay.
So he gets all the It's kind of an Abner Doubleday situation.
So a little bit, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but the gist of the story is the Redcoats, the British Army, they're coming up this river. He gets on his famous ride, alerts many people along the way. It wasn't just like, I always thought it was just like one person. Like, hey, like you went to like the Army and was like, hey. But he was just going everywhere, up and down the trail. The British are coming. The British are coming, right? It's a famous story. Paul Revere does get like all the credit. What's interesting to me, and this I did not know, he actually got captured.
Yeah.
And then, like, I guess we were soft back in those days during the American Revolution because the British let him go. I figured that's just beheading. You're done. Like at that point, that's what was going on. Behead someone, see you later. Yeah. But he was intercepted by the British Army Patrol in Lincoln, Massachusetts. The other guys, Prescott and Dawes, they escaped. But Paul was returned to Lexington by the patrol and freed after questioning. The British were too soft.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I'm coming from here. But in all, we know the story of Paul Revere. The British are coming. The British are coming. And what uniform color were the British wearing?
Well,
you're a history buff.
I'm a history guy. I believe it was red.
It was. The Reds are coming is basically what Paul Revere was saying, and that's basically what Coach Trev is telling you guys in the second half. I'm a big Reds believer. I know they had a homestand here against some lesser opponents. They went 5-5 on it. Could have been better, but by and large, they've been a good team. Except Jake, they had a horrible May where the bats just went completely cold. Okay, if you go back. In March, 2-1 doesn't count. April, 14-13. June, 14-13. July, 8-5. All winning months. In May, they went 9-18.
Yeah,
they had a horrible stretch here where they just lost a ton of games. They lost a series to the Padres. They got swept by Baltimore. They got swept by Arizona. And look at the run totals in those games: 2-0, 1-1, 2-3, 4-4-1. You're not going to win baseball games when you score less than 5 runs. Yeah. That's the secret. If we ever run the Rockies like we want to, that's going to be like page 1, score 6 or more runs. That's what we're going to do. So the Reds have gotten cold. They've dealt with a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
A ton of injuries. They dealt with a McLean. What was he doing in spring training? Because there's an article that says he was practicing diving for pop-ups. And then another article said he was diving for a ground ball. And this was in practice. Reds, let's not do that in spring training.
No.
This is your guy. And he's hurt, hasn't played, might not play this year because of it. Anyways, dealt with that. Noelvi Marte gets a suspension. Unbelievable. He's come back, hasn't been exactly what he needs to be, but you'd say the guy that was one of the consensus top prospects in all of baseball is probably going to figure it out at some point, right? They're starting to go. Ellie De La Cruz has become a superstar. Yeah. There's no denying that. He is one of the most electric players in all of baseball. The pitching staff, the top 3 guys have been really, really good. Hunter Green's an all-star. Lodolo and Abbott had cases. A little bit less consistent than Hunter Green has been. But the pitching has not been the problem at all. The offense is starting to go. We just need some more consistency out of the regulars there. But the Reds are coming, and I think we had this happen last year where they went on an incredible, a 12-game winning streak, and everyone bought in, and we were all hyped up about the Reds. I think we got a little overhyped. At the end of the season wasn't great for them. But once you get that, I've talked about this before on the show, once you get that taste of damn, we played meaningful baseball last year, and it didn't work out. They're right in the thick of things again, and I think they're about to go on an incredible run. They have an interesting, they played a crazy schedule in the first half. They went out to the West Coast 3 times, which, if you talk to players, and you talk to me right here, it's not easy going out there. Everything changes. The whole, your sleep schedule changes. There's some good teams out there. It's just not easy to go out there. They got Washington coming out of the break, who I think they can beat. And then they go on a really difficult trip to Atlanta and Tampa, and that's right before the deadline. Very pivotal time. If they make it through, this is a 10-gamer, a 9-gamer. They go Washington, Atlanta, Tampa. If they can salvage that with a winning record, if they go 6-3 there, if they go 5-4 there, I don't know how much they're going to be adding because they kind of have a set roster. They could use some additions like any team could, but this is going to be the most pivotal stretch for them all season. Because if they go out there and they go 3-6, and then all of a sudden you're 6 games under 500, I think you start to turn and things start to take it. This is a very pivotal moment. They've kind of played to their opponent throughout the season. They've got up for some big series. Yeah. They beat some really, really good teams, swept the Dodgers. And then they've lost to some lowlier competition like we saw leading into the break against Milwaukee and Colorado. Or excuse me, Miami and Colorado. This is huge for them, in my opinion. If I'm talking a team that I'm looking to in the second half, they can really make us go, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's the Reds. The Reds are coming. Paul Revere Award. Go Cincinnati, go Cincinnati.
It's very good. Growing up in the Northeast, you get really inundated with the Northeast stuff. Paul Revere.
So you
like,
knew
you
he got captured? Because I didn't know that.
Oh, like if you gave me a DraftKings odds on it, I would have been like, yeah, Paul Revere got captured at some point. But I didn't have that at the top of my head. I think you go past somewhere, you're on like a street in Boston, and you're like seeing sights, and you're like, this is nice. And they're like, yeah, that's where Paul Revere's buried. And you're like, whoa, all right. I don't know. Didn't need that.
I think he was loaded because he was silversmith.
I love the Reds. They should be better. And it would be funny if they catch a little good steam that if it could be inverted from last year. Like, I'm sure if you take out their win streak from last year, the Red season is kind of ugly. This year, besides the losing streak, the Red season has been pretty solid. And India's come on. They're getting bodies back. There's a formula there. And that's why, dude, treadline season, if you're right, if they survive Atlanta-Tampa road trip, they're going to have a nice little win streak going on. And I don't know. They're a team you kind of don't want to play. Hunter Green's throwing 100 plus at you. Lodolo's coming from a weird arm angle, and they've got a bunch of young guys that can mash. Great award, Trev.
So you agree?
I do and I don't because they've hurt me a little bit this season. And Rhys Hines is the best player to ever play baseball.
He's a big difference maker for them.
Trev, I'll keep it a little high and tight because, God, you've just been poetic with it. And we're trying to get Chris Rose in baseball today going. Shelfie's here. BBD's hot.
I'm sick of Chris Rose trying to be a schedule guy. It ain't happening,
He's
Chris.
the guy. He knows when the plane's coming. I'm going to give out the Challengers Award. I keep referencing this movie, and I haven't seen it yet. It's the Zendaya tennis threesome movie. Got to watch the end of Wimbledon. Google it. I got to watch the end of Wimbledon coming down on the flight. That was fun.
Was it? Because Alcaraz.
You got to hit the Alcaraz. He looks dominant. Challengers. There's a movie, Zendaya. She's got two guys kind of courting her. It's kind of like, we're flipping some social norms.
They're playing tennis,
There's some kissing. There's a lot of tennis involved. I haven't seen the movie.
It's kind of like my life.
It's kind of like your life.
Me and Prince Fielder.
It was just a realization for me of if I was a Mariners fan listening to the first half of this episode, I'd be kind of mad at us.
Because they're in first place?
They're in first place. And like we've gave a lot of these other teams these outs of like, if this guy goes, and like Julio hasn't given them anything. And he's supposed to be their offense. Cal Raleigh's numbers have gotten to a bad spot. That you can look at Seattle very glass half full, and we've been looking at it glass half empty. That sure, I hope they do the move. They are in first place, which, hey, that's kind of the ask. And I don't know, when I kind of took a step back and tried to consume our episode while doing it, I was kind of looking at it like you and I are the challengers, and Seattle is Zendaya, that we want to fuck with them. I want to fuck with Seattle, but they just got to give me something more, bro. So I'm sorry. Seattle, if it came off as we were hating earlier, I'm sorry. Houston has tortured my fan base for the past couple years. They've tortured the whole American League. That I want to fuck with Seattle, but I can't right now because I got to see more offensively.
The highest OPS they have on the team, Jake, is Cal Raleigh with a 734. And some of the counting stats are good. 20 homers, 61 runs driven in. But, dude, you're not surviving the Astros coming with this offense, okay?
Yeah.
And we can talk about overall numbers for them, too, offensively. It's not good. 30th in average, 28th in OPS, 27th in runs.
It's just a tough watch.
So it's the same old song and dance. We got to go. And I know it takes two to tango, but you got to go get somebody.
We want to come in, Seattle. Cal Raleigh with a couple big games. He recently boosted those numbers, but I need more.
Hey, if there's one thing Seattle likes doing, it's trading.
It's about that time of year. Thank you, everyone. Big episode heading into the All-Star break. It's Chris Rose o'clock. Clear out. Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Let's get some Tex-Mex.
Chick sucks.
All over the place. House of Dragons last night was sick.
Didn't finish it. Hottest guy at the party last night.
Oh.
Who said Mike Cameron?
Mike Cameron.
Luis Brinson.